This is CBC Winnipeg News.
You are not going to step up. I ask that you step down.
Anger and frustration over the provincial government's refusal to search a landfill for 2 murdered women could be felt at Assiniboine Park this afternoon. Protesters stormed into the building where Premier Heather Stefanson was meeting with some of Canada's most powerful leaders. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. As you just saw, demonstrators moved from the Brady landfill to the Leaf to send their message to premiers from across the country. We'll have more on that in just a few minutes. But first, despite a city order to leave the blockade at the Brady landfill, protesters held their ground today. The demonstration is in response to the Premier's decision not to fund a search at a different landfill for the remains of 2 First Nations women. As CBC's Josh Crabb reports, the City of Winnipeg may go to court to try and end the blockade.
Demonstrators spray-painted directions to a different entrance to Brady Road landfill. The main road into the City of Winnipeg facility has been blocked since Thursday. Family members, First Nations leaders, and supporters want Prairie Green landfill north of the city searched. Police believe the remains of homicide victims Mercedes Myron and Melissa Robinson's cousin Morgan Harris were transported there last year.
Are we going to shut down roads? Are we going to piss people off? Yeah, we probably are going to, but you know what? We're doing it for all the right reasons.
Demonstrators say it's in response to Premier Heather Stefanson deciding against funding a 3-year, up to $184 million search of Prairie Green. The city issued an order to protesters to dismantle their barriers outside Brady by noon Monday. The deadline has passed. The blockade remains in place.
We're fighting to get these women home. And why are you so against that?
While some passers-by honked in support of the protest, others expressed frustration with the ongoing blockade. On Sunday morning, a man shoveled a load of soil and wood chips onto an MMIWG mural.
Take care of your own way. We are, you dumbass! Then why are they dead?
We're blurring his face because he hasn't had a chance to speak for his actions. Monday, a different man dumped a trailer load of building material, yard waste, and garbage on the road just outside the blockade.
They feel that money is worth more than a human life, and that's unfortunate that we are here today in society dealing with that, and that's the message that we're receiving today.
The city's chief administrative officer, Michael Jack, says if demonstrators don't end this blockade, the city may seek a court injunction. He says it's possible the city could start that process as early as Tuesday morning.
We need to return this municipal landfill to its intended use, taking in the waste for approximately 750,000 Winnipeggers.
There is a temporary entrance commercial trucks and personal vehicles have been using to access the landfill, but Jack says it's not a permanent solution. Family members say they're not going anywhere.
They could serve us an injunction. That means we have to vacate this area. That doesn't mean we're not going to go elsewhere, right?
Winnipeg police say officers have been in contact with blockade organizers. The city says it still hopes to reach a peaceful resolution. Josh Crabb, CBC News, Winnipeg.
With the provincial election less than 3 months away, the PC government is using ads to show they're tough on crime. One of their campaigns touts the benefits of something Manitoba doesn't actually do. CBC's Bartley Kivas brings us that story.
Electronic ankle bracelets. Some jurisdictions use them to monitor convicted criminals. Manitoba does not. Heather Stefanson canceled this program back in 2017 when she was Justice Minister.
There's tampering, and that's in many instances, and actually 50% of cases, they were either tampered with or cut off.
Now Manitoba's planning to bring back those ankle bracelets, but not a single offender is wearing one of these devices. The province has yet to find a company to supply them. But that hasn't stopped the PCs from running billboard and newspaper ads extolling the virtues of ankle bracelets. They come with the tagline, "Fighting crime, tracking violent criminals, real results." Justice Minister Kelvin Gertsen did not respond to requests for comments about the ads for the non-existent program. Political studies professor Paul Thomas says the PCs are trying to use crime as a wedge issue against the NDP, who may be seen as softer on crime. In a statement, Thomas said, the billboard serves as a condensation symbol. It condenses people's feelings of anxiety, fear, and frustration with rising crime levels. The NDP says the PCs have a credibility problem and shouldn't be using public funds for these ads.
The PCs are now forcing you, the taxpayer, and using your tax dollars to pay for their pre-election ads.
It's possible we'll continue to see these ads all the way to Election Day. Thanks to changes to election financing rules, publicity can continue for any ongoing or recurring program or activity. Bart Lekivas, CBC News, Winnipeg.
A 64-year-old man was found dead in a residential suite on Langside over the weekend. Officers were called there on Saturday about a man who'd been assaulted. They found the victim, but he was already dead. He's been identified as Marcel Painchot of Winnipeg. The Winnipeg Police Homicide Unit is investigating. Anyone with information is asked to contact police or Crime Stoppers. A woman from Lorette says one of her biggest fears happened in May when she got a Facebook message. An ex-boyfriend was allegedly sharing intimate images of her. Now she's looking for justice. The CBC's Ian Fraze reports.
I'm feeling just sick.
That's how Diane Oliveira felt when she was told a video of her in an intimate moment was sent to a stranger.
How do you do this to another human being who you are supposed to be amicable with and who you once cared about so much, and just this ultimate form of betrayal? It was just heart-wrenching.
Oliveira says a stranger messaged her on Facebook out of the blue. The woman deleted the video, but she remembered details of the video that Oliveira knew about. The stranger also said that her husband got a different intimate video of Oliveira. These allegations are laid out in a new lawsuit filed to Manitoba's Court of King's Bench and have not been proven in court. She says the videos were taken without her knowledge. Her ex-boyfriend denies possessing intimate images of her or sending them to anybody. But Oliveira says in an affidavit that's not true. The defendant was both defensive and defiant. He admitted that he sent the videos but told me it's not like it's a big deal, your face isn't in the video. Her lawsuit is one of the first to test the Manitoba law that lets victims of non-consensual distribution of sexual imagery sue for financial damages.
They're only effective if people know about them and people are brave enough to come forward and take advantage of them. And a lot of people still don't know that A, it's a crime, and that B, that there's things that you can do to fight back, and you don't have to suffer in silence.
One criminologist says more people are choosing to share sexual images of themselves through new technologies.
What's less of the norm is to have a video taken of you without your consent. And I think that a lot of people would sort of say that that's clearly a violation of someone's autonomy at that stage, let alone the redistribution stage.
Oliveira is waiving her right to a publication ban on her identity. She says she doesn't want to be afraid anymore.
Bad things happen to good people sometimes, but you don't have to sit there alone. Like, I want to be the voice for people who are too afraid or ashamed or humiliated to do it themselves.
She hopes her fight for justice will serve as that lesson. Ian Fraze, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Winnipeg Police and Crime Stoppers have launched a new campaign targeting catalytic converter thefts. Car owners can get their catalytic converters engraved free of charge. When you take your car to get work done at the local dealership, they'll paint an 8-digit orange VIN number on the catalytic converter. Police say marked converters won't be accepted at a scrap dealer, creating a deterrent to those inclined to steal and sell them. Drivers will also get a Save Your Cat sticker to alert thieves your converter is engraved.
No matter where you go in Canada, it's visible. And we know that we've got videos of people stealing these things in a matter of seconds in a parking lot. It's not something that takes all the time. So short answer, we want to get the message out, get people to spend the time to get this done.
Since Manitoba started marking catalytic converters a year ago, thefts have dropped. Police say 70 local shops will do the engraving at no cost when cars are in for other service work. A new campus that will include housing and a community arts and culture space for 2S LGBTQ+ seniors is set to be ready by next February. A Place of Pride is a joint project with the Rainbow Resource Centre and Westminster Housing Society to be built on Broadway. It will include 21 subsidized housing units for 2S LGBTQ+ seniors and a community arts and culture centre. 7 units will be for seniors who are homeless or at risk of homelessness. The new arts and culture space will include a library and space for performance art exhibitions and provide supports and mentorship for the community.
Next March, this apartment building and the services and the community that Rainbow Resource Centre will help us create will be life-changing. It'll be transformational for 21 tenants and 21 more after that.
And CBC weather specialist Riley Laychuk joins us now. And Riley, I had to put in extra hairspray in my hair today because it was so windy outside.
Yeah, quite windy across southern Manitoba, even parts of the north seeing winds this afternoon gusting up to 80 kilometers an hour. So, and it's a bit of a brisk northwest wind as well. We'll talk about the winds in just a second. Right now in Winnipeg, it's 19 degrees. We are seeing winds still quite gusty out there. Out of the northwest at almost 40 kilometers an hour, gusting to 50 at the moment. Pressure is rising. This 19 degrees as good as we did here in the city this afternoon. This is about 6 degrees off of our normal, 7 degrees off of our normal for this time of the year. So here's what the winds are doing right now. You can see not a lot of wind out to the west, but certainly through the Red River Valley, the Interlake, seeing these very gusty winds and these brighter colors along the Hudson Bay coast. Certainly quite strong winds. We will see that dying off though as we get into the night, and you can see this area of low pressure out over Hudson Bay really circulating that northwesterly flow, that cold northwesterly air south into the Red River Valley. We have seen some spotty showers in the eastern part of Manitoba, even out into northwestern Ontario through the afternoon here. Didn't really see any of that materialize here in the city of Winnipeg, but we did see some showers in the Interlake this afternoon as well, and on the east side of Lake Winnipeg out into northwestern Ontario. So here's the remnants of that low starting to move off into the morning on Tuesday, starting with a mainly sunny sky, really province-wide. We will see things changing a little bit though as we get into the afternoon on Tuesday. We start to see our cloud cover building in again, and then we start to see a little bit of precipitation Tuesday night into Wednesday along the southern international border with the United States. And I did put a slim chance of showers in Winnipeg for early Wednesday morning. Greatest chance along the international border, areas like Morden Winkler over toward Emerson, Altona, getting a better chance of some showers early Wednesday morning. Into the afternoon, mix of sun and clouds tomorrow, for the afternoon on Wednesday, I should say. Chance of showers as we head into Thursday, and really that will continue through the week. Slim chance we can see some showers really into Thursday and Friday. So right now, 19 in Winnipeg, 20 in Brandon, 18 in Thompson. There's some of that cooler air out into northeastern Manitoba. Tonight in Winnipeg, down to 8 degrees, a mainly clear sky. Winds do lighten up as we get into the night tonight, so a pleasant evening on tap here, I think, for most of southern Manitoba. 13 first thing in the morning with a few clouds, and increasing clouds in the afternoon tomorrow. 24 degrees in Winnipeg. We do see some winds that we're contending with in northern Manitoba still tomorrow. 20 in Gillam. Showers and 11 degrees in Churchill tomorrow afternoon. Brandon seeing a high of 20 tomorrow under a mix of sun and clouds. That's really the same across most of southern Manitoba. Just that mix of sun and cloud through the afternoon tomorrow. Into southeastern Manitoba, 22, 23 degrees, fairly pleasant conditions. Winds light as we get into the afternoon tomorrow, and into northwestern Ontario, 21, 22 degrees. Mainly sunny skies once we see that rain start to push off into this evening. Bit rainy forecast. Brittany will have those details coming up at the end of the show.
All right, thanks so much, Riley. We'll check in with you in a little bit. Well, as you saw earlier in the show, protesters moved from the Brady landfill to the Leaf to send their message to premiers from across the country. Last week, the province said they won't pay for a search. But as CBC's Ian Fraze shows you, the controversy isn't going away.
Search the landfills! We are not trash!
Outside the room or inside where premiers and Indigenous leaders were meeting, the Manitoba government's decision not to search the Prairie Green landfill echoed everywhere. It's believed the remains of 2 First Nations women are in that landfill. Cambria Harris's mother is one of them.
You sit in these powerful positions, but where are you when your own people need you? Huh? Where's the never get them. I'm done playing your sick game. It's time for you to listen to the families that acknowledge us.
Sue Caribou has joined the call to search the landfill. Her niece, Tanya Niepanak, went missing more than a decade ago. Police searched Brady landfill for her remains, which were not found.
It doesn't belong in the trash. It doesn't belong in a dump. No human being belongs in a dump.
The protest started at Brady landfill and momentarily moved here to the Leaf, where the Council of Federation, represented by all premiers, met with Indigenous leadership. Manitoba hosted because Premier Heather Stephenson is the chair.
As a mother, my heart goes out to the families that are going through this, and we will be there for those families.
Stephenson promised support for the families impacted, but she stopped short on promising the search they want.
And I think that there's other ways where we can work together on what is a very, very important issue that we face, not just here in Manitoba, but right across the country.
Some Indigenous leaders are hoping the province will reconsider.
It's very disappointing. It's just an unjust that Manitoba wouldn't come to the table on that.
And so does the NDP.
We have to try to find the remains of these women. And I think that Premier Stephenson has made a serious mistake in ruling out a search.
The Premier's meetings continue until Wednesday. Ian Fraze, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Coming up, the Prime Minister committed to a major expansion of Canada's role leading a NATO battle group stationed in Latvia. We'll bring you the details after the break. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is now in Lithuania for a 2-day NATO summit. But before that high-stakes session, Trudeau met with the host Prime Minister. They discussed a number of economic, security and diplomatic matters.
We're expanding our embassy in Riga, and we're officially establishing a Canadian embassy in Lithuania here in Vilnius, as well as a Canadian embassy in Estonia.
Earlier today, during a stop in Latvia, the Prime Minister signed an agreement on increasing Canada's military contribution to a NATO-led mission there. It will eventually involve as many as 2,200 Canadian troops, plus the ability to add hundreds of additional personnel as needed. Trudeau also promised Canada will procure and pre-position critical weapon systems and help with intelligence and cyber activities. He pledged $2.6 billion in funding for the program over 3 years. Starting tomorrow, Trudeau and other NATO leaders will discuss a plan to boost the military spending of alliance members to 2% of each country's GDP. Ukraine's potential membership in the alliance will also be on the table. Russian President Vladimir Putin and mercenary leader Yevgeny Prigozhin met after the rebellion last month. That's according to a new statement from the Kremlin, which adds that Prigozhin was among 35 Wagner Group commanders invited to the meeting. The men reportedly discussed the status of the war in Ukraine and last month's rebellion. Prigozhin, seen right here after the rebellion, has repeatedly accused the government of failing to supply his group with ammunition. The Wagner Group said it had planned to oust Russia's military chief and the defense minister. That military chief, Valery Gerasimov, has appeared for the first time since the June 24th mutiny. Russia's defense ministry says the footage of Gerasimov is from yesterday. Convicted U.S. sports doctor Larry Nassar has reportedly been attacked in prison. Nassar is serving time for sexually abusing female gymnasts. The Associated Press says Nassar was stabbed multiple times during a fight with another inmate yesterday. Sources say he's in stable condition. Authorities confirm there was an incident but are not releasing any names. Nassar admitted to sexually assaulting athletes when he worked at Michigan State University and USA Gymnastics. Still to come, Riley Lachuk will be back with your 7-day forecast and we'll have your daily lift. Stay with us.
Well, let's take a look at some of the conditions across Canada, and you can really see this area of low pressure giving us some of these really strong northwesterly winds across southern Manitoba today. Some of the strongest winds coming off of Hudson Bay in the Churchill and Gillam region, just 7 right now in Churchill, 19 in Winnipeg. Out to the west, some warmer conditions, 26 in Calgary right now, 20 in Edmonton, 28 in Kelowna, 19 in Vancouver. Looking a bit further to the east, we're seeing some warmth in southern Ontario. 28s in Toronto and Windsor, 23 in Ottawa at the moment, Fredericton 25 degrees. Looking at our 7-day forecast now, there's that chance of a shower I put in Tuesday into Wednesday, a high of 21 on Wednesday with a mix of sun and cloud. Thursday, 25 degrees with some rain, possibly. And then Friday, Saturday, chance of showers. Sunday, a chance of showers, and clearing into Monday.
U.S. President Joe Biden was in London today, where he met with British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak. The two leaders discussed the conflict in Ukraine. They disagree on when that country should join NATO and on the Americans' decision to send cluster munitions to the war-torn country. But Biden says bilateral relations between the U.S. and the U.K. remain strong regardless. Abby Kuthason has more.
Joe Biden making his first visit to 10 Downing as the U.S. president. He was greeted by Rishi Sunak right in front of the number 10 Downing door. The two leaders then held a brief meeting in the garden here, and Biden highlighting the special relationship between the two countries and the two leaders.
Good to be back. You know, we've only been meeting once a month. We've met in San Diego, Belfast, Hiroshima, Washington, here, and couldn't be meeting with a closer friend and a greater ally.
Over the weekend, Joe Biden did say that Ukraine is not ready to join NATO while it's at war with Russia. London, of course, has been pushing for a fast-tracked entry, but today the spokesperson for Sunak trying to downplay that difference, saying that the United Kingdom is working with allies to sort out a pathway for membership. Joe Biden, after he left 10 Downing, went to Windsor Castle to meet with King Charles. This is the first time he's met with the monarch since the coronation. He was greeted there with a royal salute and the playing of the national anthem. The two men then held a meeting with investors and philanthropists on climate finance. Environmental protection is certainly an issue that is important to both of them. So it was certainly a whirlwind pit stop for the U.S. president here in England as he now heads to Lithuania for the NATO summit. Abby Kuthason, CBC News, London.
Well, about 160 Indigenous youth from 21 different teams took part in a ball hockey tournament here over the weekend. The event was hosted by a nonprofit group called Indigenous Vitality and has been going on for 4 years now.
The organizer says many of the kids have been practicing for this event all year, and that's tonight's Daily Lift.
This is like their Olympics. Like it's a big deal. We have 21 teams, and we've got players and teams from communities all over, from closer like Barons River and Penamutang, but as far as like Puckatawagan and like St. Teresa Point.
It feels amazing. It's a good time, and we're always. It's always a good tournament to play here.
It's going good. My team went undefeated. I did for my family. We did for Gotch River.
Happy to be outside with the boys, play with my teams, having fun,
It's good to see so many different Indigenous youth from different communities and connecting and recognizing different peers from maybe other competitions or different events, and seeing everyone kind of get together. It just brings a sense of community.
It's very uplifting, honestly. It's a lot of guys with good energy, and it makes for good games.
It's fun, love the energy, love scoring goals, precious moments, memories.
Well, that's all for us tonight. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Have a wonderful night.
See you at 11.